Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Tori if you're new here, and today we are talking food shortages. I am sipping on an Odell's Harvest Fresh. It's limited release because I'm super fancy like that, but cheers. Let me know what you're drinking. Let's get into these food shortages. I feel like food shortages go one of two ways. I talk about it pretty seriously and people get mad, or I talk about it with a little bit of humor and people get really mad. So I'm just gonna go with it. I'm just gonna be myself, and humor is my best medicine. So if you find me laughing at food shortages, I apologize. I'm just trying to navigate this with you, but there's about 7 to 10 on this list. I believe that you should stock up on these items. And before you go and say food shortages are not in my area, one, I always say it's not all about you. And two, you can't speak for the rest of the world. There's a lot of food shortages going on around you, and you really can't be in all of those spots at one. Here is a scenario. Say you go to the store and go for some frozen corn. Yes, corn is on the food shortage list, and they don't have it. Is your day going to be ruined? Probably not, but you have to think about corn as an ingredient in other things that we use. If you love chicken, perhaps they will be in shortage because they won't be able to be fed, if that makes sense. So a lot of these things on the list are going to be used in a variety of ways. There are going to be so many different ways that this food is affected. And I always say, think about the ingredient and what all it touches. And after that introduction, hi, hello, my name is Tori. I make videos 4 to 5 times a week all about life here in Northern Colorado. I try and teach you to be prepared on a budget. So if you like that kind of thing, let me know in the comments below. If you're new, hit the subscribe button, like this video, share it if you will. I promise we're a good time here. We just like to stay positive in the comments. All right, I have my laptop down here. Bedtime, honestly, mom to mom or mom to parent was a doozy. The kids were wrestling hard, broke the sound machine. We need 2 sound machines because of the baby. So I used their sound machine, put it upstairs, and then we were left without a sound machine. We have one, but it's not loud enough, according to my 5-year-old. And my 3-year-old says that it's not hushing properly, apparently. So I went in and used my other phone, and hopefully that will work. But I'm using a YouTube loop, and there are, little commercials here and there. So I keep hearing random voices in there, and I'm getting paranoid, but I just have to keep telling myself that they're just commercials on the video. So after that little back talk, I'm trying to get this together here for you. I have an article that I want to bring up, and this is one that I found to be the most truthful. There are some other articles floating around out there about the reasoning behind the shortage, and I just don't agree with it. I feel like there was an agenda being pushed for one of them. It just, every single thing said, hey, if they don't have this, maybe opt for a plant-based version of it, which, I was plant-based, and it just is not a good diet for me. And I really don't think it's a good diet for other people as well. But, I can't tell you what to eat. So I don't feel like that is a reason to put out, the food shortage list of 2024. But hey, to each their own. All right, let's start off with the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Summary findings in 2024. The level of food price inflation varies depending on whether the food is purchased for consumption at home or away from home. The food at home, grocery store or supermarket food purchases, CPI increased 0.3% from September 2023 to October of 2023 and was 2.1% higher than October 2022. And the food away from home restaurant purchases, CPI increased 0.4% in October 2023 and was 5.4% higher than October of 2022. So that does not affect me too greatly when it comes to restaurant purchases. We really don't eat out too much, but the in-home, food at home grocery store prices, that's incredible, honestly. For those of you that said that inflation wasn't real, which was hilarious to read. This is proof, but it's a government website, so take that with a grain of salt, but this is fact, and it's just showing numbers and things like that. So nothing there to see. If you can't tell, I'm not really a math gal. That's not how my brain works. I just wanted to give that data for those of you that thrive on the math. All right, here it is. This is from discontinuednews.com. Food shortage 2024. What experts predict for a hunger crisis. And Crisis is one of those buzzwords, so take that with a grain of salt. But food shortage has become a major topic since the pandemic hit. The World Bank defines it as everyone having access to enough safe and nutritious food for a healthy life. Millions of people are already feeling the effects of food shortage globally. The problem I have with that sentence is healthy food. I feel like a lot of what is peddled to the masses is deemed healthy, but in turn is not healthy because Big Pharma runs it all and they want you sick. We've talked about this before. They want you sick. They want you to have these ailments, so you purchase all their pills to make you feel better. When in turn, a lot of those things are not quick fixes. Those are pharmaceuticals that you will be repurchasing for years and years and years, and they will lead to other issues, which will make you purchase more pharmaceuticals. So yeah, not really happy about that sentence, but it's true. In recent years, various threats have emerged affecting people worldwide. These include wars, economic shifts, diseases, and especially climate change and unpredicted weather. I would not say all of it is unpredicted weather. We've talked about that before. I think a lot of this is an internal issue. I think the word climate change has been brought up a lot, and there are some positives and negatives to it, but I feel like climate change is brought up to push another agenda. So they start off by saying staples like wheat and corn have been at risk, leading to panic buying, which is very true. We all saw that happening in stores near us, and it just is not a fun vibe. It's not a fun experience to go to the grocery store when people are panic buying and taking all the food when they could have just prepared like I always tell you to do. But let's start off with number one. Number one is going to be pasta. I agree with this. Italy faced a pasta problem due to increased ingredient costs, especially for wheat, and rising packaging and logistics expenses. This led to price hikes in some regions like Siena and Tuscany. Heater is going on, sorry about that. It is reported that over 50% increase in pasta prices, which I've seen in the grocery store myself. You know, pasta used to be 88 cents, 99 cents. Now it's up at like $1.79, sometimes $1.89, depending on which pasta you get. I have tried to switch my pasta over the last few months to non-enriched products, but in the event of an emergency, if you're fed, you're fed. I always like to say that just in case anyone is trying to buy healthy ingredients and can't afford them. Next on the list is going to be chocolate and cocoa. Cocoa prices have hit 12-year highs globally. The Russian invasion of the Ukraine, climate change, and El Nino all drive it. It impacted cocoa production in West Africa. This region includes Ghana, Cameroon, Nigeria, and the Ivory Coast. It accounts for about 75% of the world's cocoa production. Do I have anybody in the West Africa region? I'd like to know. If you feel comfortable in the comments, maybe you can confirm this. I know not everybody works with cocoa in that region, but it would be interesting to hear your perspective. Next up is going to be sugar. The sugar shortage is caused by poor weather and reduced exports from India. Besides, the consistent demand compounds the chocolate crisis. So yes, I have seen that. I've been talking about sugar for a while. We use sugar for more than just sweetening things, so I would suggest looking into sugar alternatives and some alternatives that you can grow in your garden. So I suggest looking into stevia. I've had success with that here in Colorado. We used to be in zone 5B, but the zones have changed. I haven't even talked about that on the channel yet. Double check your zone. They have changed for 2024, and that may cause not stress, but that may cause some changes in January when you start your seeds. I'm starting all of mine in January. Wish me luck on that, and we'll see what happens. All right, next on the list is going to be rice. A rice shortage persists in the second half of 2023. Russia's invasion of the Ukraine has severely affected the world's rice supply, along with adverse weather in major rice-producing nations like China and Pakistan. Additionally, the return of the El Nino has brought unpredictable weather. India has halted exports of non-basmati white rice to safeguard its reserves, which, I mean, totally makes sense. The price impact. High prices continue to be the most noticeable effect of the rice shortages. It is noted that the price reached $18.50 per hundredweight. However, prices have softened to around $16 per hundredweight. They are predicted to remain above average until the new year. And when I first started talking about food shortages like 3 years ago, I started talking about inflation and how that would be affected. And a lot of people got on my case saying that there wasn't a food shortage and they couldn't think of panicking in this situation. I'm not trying to panic you. What I'm trying to do is get you stocked up for yourself and your family, and you're not going to be able to do that if you can't afford things. So buying things now in bulk and buying them when they are at a cheaper price is the best bet when it comes to preparedness. There are a lot of other things that you need in your arsenal for preparedness, but having a rotated pantry is a big one. So So make sure you're buying foods that you actually enjoy and you're rotating through them. Treat them as a second pantry, but make sure you're keeping it in a safe area. And on that note, when we're talking about safety and security, definitely look into finding another place to store some extra food. It could be a second property, it could be a second home, it just could be a secret place that only you and your family know how to get to in the event of an emergency and people may be looking for food. Next on the list is going to be salmon. The salmon population has declined in California and Alaska. It is because of climate change, droughts in California, overfishing, pollution, and disease. To protect the remaining population, California officials have banned commercial and recreational fishing in 2023. The first such ban occurred in 2008. So I didn't know that. I guess I just didn't know the logistics of it. Let me know in the comments below if you're a salmon fisherman. My dad is a big salmon fisherman. He goes up to Pulaski, sometimes people call it Pulaski, Lake Ontario, sometimes up to Canada, a lot of places in New York, essentially. So I feel like this is going to be a big impact, especially with us that rely on fish as their protein. I personally do. I love fish. I think it's amazing, but farm-raised salmon is some of the most contaminated food you can put in your system, so always opt for wild caught. I haven't eaten farm-raised salmon since I figured that out. It's not good for you. If you're going to take anything out of your diet, do that. It's just ridden with toxins and terrible pollutants and things that they put in the fish food to make it look a certain color or look a certain way or taste a certain way. So get rid of all of that farm-raised salmon if you can and opt for wild caught. I understand it's expensive, but shop your sales. Make sure you're looking at your grocery store ads and really try and buy from local companies if you're able to. Next on the list is going to be flour, and we've talked about that before. Flour prices have increased by 8.5% compared to last year. Experts predicted Americans will feel the effects of a flour shortage in 2024. This shortage could impact a variety of beloved foods. So this is the first time they've talked about this, but flour is in a lot of our foods. So just because you're not seeing a flour shortage in your area, look at other things. Look at other beloved items that you enjoy and see if there's flour in it, because guess what? 9 times out of 10, that product is going to be inflated, skyrocketed price, or you're just not going to be able to find it. There are companies out there that still are small, that still need these ingredients to create their product. And when they can't afford it, that means they can't make it. And that means you're not going to find it. Cheers, break. I love this. High IBUs on this beer. I absolutely love a bitter IPA. It just is a good winter staple for me. Give me a thumbs up in the comments if you feel the same. All right, and then they go on to say another list. And again, this is discontinuednews.com, but there is going to be a bread shortage, of course. Cooking oil, wheat, corn, baby formula, eggs, beef, canned pet food, and tomatoes due to a poor harvest. So let's break down that list. Bread because of flour. Cooking oil, not sure. I mean, there's several reasons, but cooking oil, I've told you before, get away from the seed oils. They're terrible. No sunflower seed, no vegetable oil, no canola oil. Try and stick with some good quality olive oil. I always have Gundry MD's link down in my description. I love their olive oil. It gives you a discount and they just have a great product. So look into that down in the comment box if you ever want some good quality olive oil. Or if you're on a tighter budget, go ahead to Costco and find some avocado oil. Find some good avocado oil. You need to be looking at the bottle, looking at the ingredients. There should be only one thing involved in your cooking oil. There shouldn't be any other junk, but seed oils are neurotoxins. You don't want them in your system. They can cause infertility and a variety of health issues. I really suggest doing research on this subject. The next one is going to be wheat, and that is because of the country that produces it. But a lot of the United States farms are going to be affected due to weather is their main thing that they talk about. I don't know what I was doing here. Next is going to be corn. I always say try and get non-GMO corn. But like I said in the beginning, corn is in a ton of items, not just feed corn, but you have to think about corn syrup and what that's in. Even if you've cooked corn syrup items out of your diet, it may be touching other things. Again, you just really need to read your labels, find out what's in your food, and then maybe opt for a local item. Next up is going to be baby formula. That's a big one. I have a 7-month-old. I am very, very fortunate that she is breastfed. That worked out for me me, but I always say with this, fed is best. Nutritionally, breastfeeding is awesome, but if you can't do it, there's baby formula. And if there's a shortage, that's going to be tricky. Look into local milk donor banks. That's going to be super expensive. I've had to do that before. Or if you feel comfortable with it, there are Facebook groups around that offer women who are overproducing and they give you milk. So it's easy for you to go and interview that woman and ask her some questions about her environment and what she eats, maybe her diet, to see if that milk would suit you. Unfortunately, you can't just go on the internet and look for free breast milk or donated breast milk because things get a little iffy on social sites and breast milk, unfortunately. But if you want to find some in your area, just email me and I will tell you the keywords you use when you're searching for breast milk around your area. Next up is going to be eggs, and that is on there because of the inflated price. If you're like me, you went and bought chickens when the price of eggs started going up. I'm just kidding. We did plan on buying birds, but we thought, hey, you know, we are going to be great. We are just going to get some eggs. But there's a variety of things that go into chickens, and we have ducks, and I don't think a lot of people think about that when they purchase chickens. You need to think of feed costs. You need to think of the coop. You need to think of a good environment. Most commercial grain has corn in it, and if you want a corn-free diet for your chicken, you may have to just DIY it, which is what we have been doing. But during the winter months, they can't really free range around, so they're not getting that nutritional bug and they're not getting those greens. And you know, it can be hard on a chicken. They're very finicky, and also they stop laying for a period of time. I believe ducks are much more consistent when it comes to laying hens, but ducks are finicky too. They have to have a proper diet. So if you were like me and you bought birds, you might be using the grocery store for eggs, and that is what we're doing right now. I try and look for cage-free organic eggs, or I try and look for free-range organic eggs, whatever is available to me. But the farm down the road does $5 a dozen, and I know he feeds them organic feed because I buy from him, so I really enjoy his eggs. They're great. They're happy hens. He hangs out with them every day, and they get plenty of sunlight, which is super important. Next on the list is going to be beef, and that has been on the food shortage list for a while. I'm going to close my laptop here, and there's a variety of issues to blame here. Beef is in scarce supply, and a lot of people are being pushed towards plant-based meat. But you know what? I have seen so many sales on plant-based meat because I feel like a lot of people aren't buying it because they found out about these seed oils. They found out about soy. They found out about all these issues and all of these ingredients that are connected when it comes to plant-based foods. I talked about beef 2 videos back. A lot of our beef is imported, around 60%, upwards of 60%. And you know, it's labeled a US based food. If you can find grass-fed, grass-finished beef, that's awesome. I'm going to give a shout out to Switchaway once again. They have a ranch. It's grass-fed, grass-finished beef. You can buy it for a great price, and then it can be delivered at your door. So if you're not finding local beef, maybe look to that link in my description box and I can chat you through, give you a tour of the store, and then go from there. It's a really great company. It's American made. It has been around for almost 40 years, all non-toxic products, and they have a great variety. It's stuff that you're already buying that you can just find in one convenient place. If you're like me and you got rid of Target and Walmart and attempted to get rid of Amazon, then this is the store for you. They have plenty of items, again, at a discounted price, and you can safely shop with them. Let me know if you have any questions. And then last on that list is going to be canned pet food. I can't really attest to that. If anything, I saw an aluminum shortage on a bunch of lists, so that could definitely be part of it, but there are a lot of items in canned pet food that are on the food shortage list as well, so I'm not really sure. It depends. Let me know if you feed your animals canned food. I know there's been an increase on the raw diet for animals, so let me know your thoughts about that in the comments. Alrighty, my friends, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this food shortage list. Again, very serious things happening in our world today. I like to talk about them on the channel, and I like to take a clear, level-headed approach, and I love to hear your opinions. So let's get the conversation going so people actually know about this kind of thing to get themselves better prepared in their home. All the links I was talking about are in the description box. If you need anything specific, ask me in the comments or email me at mountainmommaliving@gmail.com. As always, stay adventurous, stay creative. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye, everyone.